What if I told you that the greatest action you could ever take is no action at all? That the moment you stop striving, stop forcing, and simply assume, everything you desire will begin to move toward you. You have been conditioned to believe that effort is the key to success, but I am here to tell you that it is not effort, but assumption that shapes your reality. The world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state. And once you rest in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, without doubt, without struggle, you will watch as everything falls perfectly into place. You do not need to lift a finger to change your life, only your mind. The world you experience is nothing more than a mirror, reflecting your state of consciousness back at you. If you believe yourself to be lacking, the world will confirm that belief. If you see yourself as abundant, abundance will find its way to you effortlessly. This is the great secret hidden in plain sight. Assumption creates reality, not effort, not struggle, not the sweat of your brow, but the quiet conviction that what you desire is already yours. The moment you assume something to be true, fully and without contradiction, it begins to harden into fact. This is not wishful thinking, nor is it blind optimism. It is the law of consciousness. Every event in your life, every person you meet, every opportunity that arises is merely an echo of the state you most dominantly occupy. Change that state, and you change the reflection. No force is required, only the certainty that what you assume to be real will, in due time, become real. The greatest mistake people make is believing they must act outwardly to make their desires come true. They toil and labor trying to manipulate circumstances, unaware that all they are doing is reinforcing the very state they wish to escape. The man who strives desperately to become wealthy is, in truth, affirming his poverty with every effort. The woman who chases love, believing she must earn it, only pushes it further away. Why? Because their actions are born from a state of lack. And whatever state you embody, life must reflect back to you. To assume is to know. It is to enter the feeling of your wish fulfilled so completely that it becomes more real to you than the world around you. It is not daydreaming, nor is it pretending. It is a deep inner knowing that what you have imagined already exists. And because consciousness is the only reality, it must express itself in your external world. You do not have to chase after what is already yours. You do not have to beg, plead, or struggle. You need only assume. Think of a time when you were certain something was going to happen, and it did. Perhaps you instinctively knew you would receive good news before it arrived. Maybe you had a feeling about meeting someone before they entered your life. That was not coincidence. It was assumption in action. Your state of mind aligned with the outcome before it materialized, and the world had no choice but to comply. Now imagine applying this deliberately. Instead of waiting for circumstances to dictate your state, you dictate circumstances by assuming the end result. You want financial freedom? Do not think of wealth as something far off, something to be earned in the future. Assume you are already financially free. Walk as that person, think as that person, feel as that person, and reality will shift accordingly. But here is the key. You must not waver. The moment you look to the external world for proof, you step out of the state. You begin to doubt, and doubt is the killer of all manifestations. The world may take a moment to rearrange itself, but that does not mean your assumption is false. It simply means reality is catching up to the new state you have occupied. Remain steadfast. Ignore appearances. Live in the end and let the law work for you. There is no need to struggle. There is no need to make things happen. The only requirement is that you assume with conviction that what you desire is already done. Rest in that knowing, and the world will move mountains to prove you right. You have been taught that effort is the key to success, that you must struggle, grind, and push your way toward your desires. But this is a grand illusion, the trick of the physical world that keeps you bound in a cycle of frustration. The truth is, the more you try, the further your desires seem to drift away. Why? Because effort implies lack. The very act of striving reinforces the idea that you do not yet have what you seek. And as long as you believe you do not have it, reality will continue to reflect that back to you. Letting go of effort does not mean giving up. It means shifting your consciousness to a state where what you want is already yours. It is resting in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, knowing that all things come to those who are still enough to receive. The greatest manifestations happen not through force, but through surrender. The moment you stop chasing, the moment you release the need to control, you make space for the unseen forces of the universe to arrange everything on your behalf. Look at nature. The rivers do not struggle to flow, the flowers do not strain to bloom, and the sun does not fight to rise each morning. They simply are. They move in harmony with their own nature, and so must you. When you drop the belief that you must work tirelessly to deserve your desires, you align yourself with the effortless flow of creation. You become like the river, allowing life to unfold naturally instead of forcing it into place. Think of a time when something wonderful happened unexpectedly, an opportunity, a relationship, a stroke of good fortune. You did not force it into existence. It came effortlessly, as if drawn to you. This is the power of non-resistance. The moment you relax, the moment you stop trying to make things happen, the very things you once chased begin to move toward you. Most people live in a state of tension. They want something, but they fear it will not come. They set intentions, but then they worry, analyze, and doubt. And in doing so, they block what is already on its way. Manifestation is not about asking repeatedly or working harder. It is about removing the inner resistance that keeps your desires at bay. You do not have to beg for what is already yours. You only have to accept it. Imagine planting a seed. You do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You trust that the process is unfolding beneath the surface, unseen yet certain. This is the attitude you must take toward your own desires. Assume they are already set in motion. Do not force them to appear. Do not obsess over the when and how. Simply know that they are coming and continue living in a state of quiet expectation. Detachment is the secret. When you stop needing something, you signal to the universe that it is already yours. And what is already yours must appear. But as long as you cling, as long as you grasp and struggle, you are telling reality that you do not yet have it. Let go. Trust. The more you release, the faster it comes. There is nothing to force, nothing to chase, nothing to make happen. All you must do is enter the state of having and then allow reality to catch up. The mind creates effortlessly. It is only the conditioned belief in struggle that delays manifestation. Free yourself from this illusion, and you will see that everything you have ever wanted was waiting for you to stop trying so hard. You must no longer see your desire as something far away, something you are striving towards, something that exists in a future you have yet to reach. Instead, you must assume that it is already yours. You must live in the end. This means that in your mind, in your emotions, in the depths of your consciousness, you must dwell in the state of fulfillment as though it is your present reality. Most people make the mistake of believing they must first see proof before they can believe something to be true. But this is backward. Reality does not create consciousness. Consciousness creates reality. The world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state. If you continue to see your desire as something that might happen, something that could be yours one day, then you are affirming its absence. You are placing it in a distant future, and the future never arrives. There is only now. And so, if you wish to manifest, you must bring your desire into the now by assuming it is already done. Think of an actor who plays a role so convincingly that the audience fully believes in the character. The actor is not pretending in a superficial way. They become the role. Their mannerisms, their thoughts, their emotions all align with the person they are portraying. You must do the same with your desire. You must not merely wish for it, you must embody it. If you desire wealth, you must think, feel, and act as though you are already wealthy. If you desire love, you must assume the role of one who is already deeply loved and cherished. This is not about taking external action. This is about shifting your inner state. Your assumptions dictate your behavior, and your behavior influences the way the world responds to you. The person who assumes themselves to be wealthy will naturally carry themselves with confidence, make different decisions, and attract financial opportunities without effort. The person who assumes themselves to be loved will radiate a presence that draws love toward them effortlessly. It is never about forcing things to happen. It is about being the person for whom they are already true. Doubt is the only enemy of this process. If you assume your desire is yours, but then constantly look to the outside world for confirmation, you are contradicting yourself. You cannot assume one moment and doubt the next. You must persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even if your senses show you something different. The outer world takes time to rearrange itself to match your assumption. What appears as delay is not denial. It is simply the natural unfolding of reality in response to your inner conviction. You must live as though you have already received what you desire, without questioning, without worrying, without needing validation. When you enter a restaurant and order a meal, you do not sit in anxiety wondering if the food will come. You know it is on its way. You relax, you enjoy the moment because you trust in the process. This is the same attitude you must take toward manifestation. Assume it is done. Walk as though you already have it. Think from the perspective of one who has already arrived. And then, without effort, without struggle, life will shift to reflect your new state. Doors will open where there were none before. People, opportunities, and circumstances will appear in ways you could never have planned. This is not magic, it is law. The moment you fully occupy the state of the wish fulfilled, the world has no choice but to conform. The only requirement is that you remain faithful to this assumption, that you do not waver, that you do not look to the world for proof, but instead trust that the unseen is more real than what your eyes can perceive. Live in the end, assume it is done, and watch as everything falls perfectly into place. Time is an illusion. You have been conditioned to believe that what you want is far away, that there's a waiting period between your desire and its fulfillment. But the truth is, creation is finished. Everything you could ever want already exists in consciousness, and consciousness is the only reality. The delay you perceive is not because your desire is not ready, it is because you have not yet fully assumed it as true. The moment you shift your state, the outer world begins its process of rearranging itself to match. Most people make the mistake of measuring their progress by external signs. They look to the physical world for proof, and when they do not see immediate results, they become discouraged. But the physical world is always one step behind the inner world. It is like a mirror. It can only reflect what is already there. If you stand before a mirror and frown, you do not expect the reflection to smile back at you first. You must smile first, and only then will the reflection change. The same is true of your desires. You must assume they are real now, and in time, the world will mirror that assumption. You must free yourself from the false belief that things take time. Time is not something that controls you. It is something that bends to your state of being. When you fully assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you step into a reality where it is already true. And once you do that, the physical world must catch up. Some manifestations may happen instantly, while others may appear to take longer. But the delay is not because the desire is not real, it is because you are still fluctuating between believing it is yours and doubting that it will come. Think of a dream. When you dream at night, there is no gap between your thoughts and their manifestation. If you imagine yourself in a beautiful home, you are instantly there. If you believe yourself to be wealthy, riches appear around you. The dream world follows no rules of time or limitation. It responds instantly to your state of mind. And so does waking life, though it appears to move more slowly. The reason it seems slower is because you are more attached to the illusion of time in your waking consciousness. But the law remains the same. Assume it, and it must come to pass. The impatient person, the one who constantly looks at the clock and wonders when their manifestation will appear, is unknowingly pushing it further away. Their focus is on not having it yet, and so that is what reality continues to reflect. But the one who assumes it is already done, who no longer questions the process, who does not concern themselves with when or how, they are the ones who see miracles unfold effortlessly. You must train yourself to think beyond time. To truly manifest, you must live as though what you want has already happened. Feel the emotions you would feel if it were true. Think from the perspective of someone who already has it. Walk in the world with the confidence that it is done. And when doubt tries to creep in, remind yourself that the only reason you do not see it yet is because reality is still catching up to your inner shift. There is no need to wait. There's no need to worry. The moment you enter the state of your wish fulfilled, it is yours. Time is merely the servant of assumption, and assumption does not wait. It declares it is already so. And when you hold to this truth unwaveringly, you will find that what once seemed distant now appears in your life as if by magic. But it is not magic, it is law. The law that states that what you assume with full conviction must, without fail, become your reality. Faithful persistence is the key to unlocking everything you desire. The moment you assume your wish is fulfilled, the world begins shifting to reflect your new state of being. But here is where most people fail. They waver. They assume for a moment, then look around and see no evidence of change. Doubt creeps in. They begin to question if the law is real, if they are doing it correctly, if they need to take action to speed up the process. And in that very moment, they step out of the state of the wish fulfilled. You cannot occupy two states at once. You either dwell in the consciousness of having, or you dwell in the consciousness of lack. And reality will always reflect whichever state you persist in. It is not enough to assume your desire once and then return to your old way of thinking. You must remain faithful to the assumption, even when your senses tell you nothing has changed. This is what separates those who manifest effortlessly from those who struggle. The ones who succeed are those who refuse to let their physical reality dictate their inner state. Imagine planting a seed. The moment you assume your desire is already done, you have planted the seed in consciousness. But what happens if you constantly dig it up, wondering if it is growing? You kill it before it has a chance to take root. The same is true for your manifestations. The moment you assume, reality begins shifting in unseen ways. The people, events, and circumstances necessary to bring your desire to fruition are already moving into place. But if you doubt, if you waver, if you return to your old state of mind, you are uprooting the very thing you wish to bring forth. Faithful persistence means standing firm in your assumption, no matter what the outer world presents to you. It means refusing to entertain thoughts of failure, lack, or delay. It means carrying yourself as if your desire is already a fact, because in consciousness it is a fact, and since consciousness is the only reality, it must materialize in the physical world. There is no other possibility. Many people struggle because they react to the current state of things. They assume wealth, but then check their bank account and feel disappointed. They assume love, but then look at their empty bed and feel lonely. They assume success, but then notice their lack of opportunities and feel discouraged. And in doing so, they reinforce the very reality they are trying to escape. You must learn to ignore appearances. The world you see now is simply a reflection of your past assumptions. If you persist in your new assumption, the world must conform. It has no choice. This is why Neville Goddard said, "Dare to assume you are what you want to be, and you will compel everyone to play their part. The entire universe will rearrange itself to reflect your new state of consciousness. But you must hold the assumption with unwavering faith. When doubts arise, when old fears try to creep back in, remind yourself that they are nothing more than echoes of your past beliefs. They have no power unless you give them attention. Persist as though you have already received what you desire. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the relief of knowing it is done. Carry yourself with the confidence of one who has already won. Do not concern yourself with the how or when. Those details are not your responsibility. Your only responsibility is to remain faithful to your assumption. The moment you fully accept it as real, reality must mirror it back to you